Hello everyone. Nice to be here on this beautiful sunny Thursday. So the first thing I wanted to do is just to ask you how this is coming through. So for the last few weeks, I've been using some software in order to stream this into two groups. And so I'm just really curious to know if there are any issues with where you're finding it. Are you finding the slide where you're expecting it? Or if there's any issues at all, that would be great. So what I'm going to do today is really report on what's happening with our projects and share a little insight I got yesterday. Nothing that would surprise you, but anyhow, the joys of being a woman in the building industry. And firstly, so Chalmers Street, I was going swimmingly well, as I reported last week. And then on Friday, when the electrician and the plumber had both, Thursday, it was Thursday after the live last week, when the electrician and the plumber had both finished, plumber turned the water on and there was this massive leak in the bathroom. And so, which had been caused during demolition. Unfortunately, the pipes are embedded in the wall, and when they pull off the render, often then machinery goes into the pipes, and that's just a fact of life. And so the plumber couldn't fix it Friday because the power was off because the electrician hadn't finished. And so he couldn't do it till Tuesday because Monday was a public holiday. So pretty much we lost, 5 days, which was annoying. However, onward and upward. So the renderer came yesterday. So the plumber came on Tuesday, did the plumbing, and we were back to square one. And the renderer came in yesterday and rendered all of the bathroom walls. Normally, I would only do the shower, but because all the render came off, we had to have it re-rendered. And I don't actually have a regular renderer. Usually I just post it as a job when we're ready, because sometimes we need them, sometimes we don't. However, I used this renderer. He was really good, really fine, good price, all that sort of thing. And yesterday when he came, Stephen's on holidays this week. So he said, I will go and get the renderer going so that you have a morning off. So I thought, yeah, that's good. So he did. And I said to him, there were a couple of areas that I hadn't got him to quote on. There were only patches here and there in the kitchen and the laundry. So I said to him, make sure you ask him to do those patches. Technically speaking, we should have called up a variation, but because it was so minor, he mentioned to him, he didn't ask a price, that was it. So that's fine. I went back in the afternoon when he had finished and his price had jumped up 50%. So the original price was $1,000. So then he's wanting me to pay $1,500. And I said, what for? And he said, oh, for all that extra work. And it wasn't all that extra work. Like, it was a couple of square meters tops. And the job was 20 square meters. So if it was 10%, because originally I thought he said $100 extra. I thought, yep, that's fine. That's what I was expecting. Turns out it's $500. Anyhow, we have this massive argument. So what happens? See, if it had been Stephen going back, I think it would have been a different story. Because you're a woman, they expect you to, and this was anyhow, I'm not going to go into cultural stuff, but you know what I mean. So we had this big showdown. I was ready to call the police because one, he wanted to be paid on the spot, which is fine. However, he had no invoice or anything like that, so I had no paper trail. And two, he wanted to be paid 50% more. So I was about to call the police because it was getting really out of hand. But anyhow, in the end, we negotiated an arrangement. I ended up paying him $300 more, which I still think is plenty. But I decided, you know what, this is not worth getting into trouble over, and I was a bit concerned about the way things were going. See, what happens when you're in that situation, and the problem is that with the other trades I work with, like, I do always ask them for quotes, but I'm not going to hold up the job for something minor so that they can go off and quote it. But, you know, like I've worked with them for a long time, so I know they're reasonable. But when you're with someone new, every single time I move away from the process, it comes back to bite me. The fact that he was playing Stephen off me, like he was saying, you know, your husband said this, and oh God, it was a pain in the neck. So the moral to the story is stick to the process, because we'd lost control. So before they start the job, they've turned up, they've got all their stuff there. If you get them that bedded down there, they're not going to leave because you're not accepting their price. So they will be more open to negotiate. But once the work's done, and to be honest with you, my darling husband should know better. But anyhow, that's by the by. Yeah, so that was yesterday's experience. And like I always say, when you don't get fixed quotes, it's like giving a tradesman the login details to your bank account, because once they have invoiced you, it's very hard to go back from that. So I know a lot of people in my position would not share that because it doesn't put me in a very good light, but the reality is we all do dumb stuff, and I just want you to get the learning from it. Thank you for your feedback, Ali, on what's coming through. That's really great to see that it's all good. So the other thing that's happened today, and this is also something someone else might not share, but I'm going to share it anyhow, is that like most people, when I've got a lot to do, I sometimes get quite overwhelmed with it. And the way that manifests is I want to go into lockdown. I want to stay in bed, not get up in the morning, just do no dive. That's the word. I never really like being on the phone. I do it because I have to. But one of the things is I absolutely detest getting on the phone, and I just put things off. Anyhow, I have been working with a hypnotherapist recently, not because of that, just generally from a health point of view. And what she said is that that's your body's attempt to protect you. So, you know, your primitive mind, your fight or flight reflex comes into play. And what it does is tells you, your subconscious mind, to keep you really safe and go into overwhelm, go into procrastination, go into lockdown. So the way that we dealt with it is just by doing some tapping, which is all new to me, and also some energy work. And seriously, I came out of that session absolutely on fire. And I think one of the things about it is it's really good to know that you're not the only one that has that experience. And as women who are really sort of punching above our weight, we're really pushing the envelope, there are times when you're feeling overwhelmed. And so, because the thing I kept saying to her is, I have enough time to do everything that I need to do. I just need to be more effective. But the way I'm feeling is making me ineffective. And so, yeah, so just by dealing with that and having your subconscious know that you're safe and that it's okay, then you get to actually be your true self and to get out there and kick the goals that you're wanting to kick. One of the meditations I've been doing recently, and I talked about this in Instagram during the week, and I think it hit a bit of a chord, is one by Deepak Chopra, just 3 minutes. That's why I share it, because I know that you probably have a similar experience, and it makes a difference to me knowing that other people do have that, and I'm just not the only weirdo. Yeah, so this one by Deepak Chopra is a meditation for maintaining focus, and I've just really found that really powerful. Like, it's only 3 minutes, it's on YouTube, but I actually find that his talking's very distracting, so I do it for longer and I do it on my own. But it's a great meditation for really getting you going and getting you present to infinite possibility, which is what we are when we get all our crap aside and we're just, being. Yeah, so that's where I have been at for the week. As I said, Stephen's on holidays, so I've been giving him a few things to do. We're going to go away on the weekend, just have a couple of days away. So I bought a new iPad Pro in order to be able to do my floor plans on the go. And of course, Stephen loves buying gadgets, so he was really pushing me to go to Apple. So we did that during the week. And then he said to me this morning, "You haven't touched it." And I said, "Well, I haven't had time. That's why I didn't want to buy it until I had time." But anyhow, we'll go away on the weekend and I'll have a little bit of time to play on that. And I think that it's going to be a lot of fun. Even in these sessions, I'll be able to put the screen up. So I've been very jealous of David being able to do that. So now I have the tools in order to be able to do that. I only got about 3.5 weeks to the conference. I'm very excited about that. Something that I have been working on is our JV modus operandi, like how it's going to work. And as you know, I have been working in this project with a group to test the new JV structure. And I think it has enormous possibilities. I'm really excited about it. And one of the things that I'm excited about with it is that it's something that someone, a lot of, not everyone, but some of the women in our community have had a really crap time, money-wise, relationship-wise, and are often not in a position to be able to do a full project on their own. But this structure enables them to be able to be part of a group, do a project, and to be improving their financial position with property. It's such a great time at the moment because there's so much happening in the market. There's some properties going super duper over reserve. There's a lot of properties that are just doing absolutely rubbish. This is when the quality of the agent really stands out, and also the mindset of the owner. Like I've talked about many times, if you overpitch the price of the property, it is going to come back and bite you. And so the property that we bought in Darley Street was the owner he was insistent that it was worth more than it was, and he wasn't in tune with the market, and as a result it lingered, and then he started reducing it. And once you start reducing the sale price, it's like the buyers smell blood. And so as a result, we were able to buy that. So I think I've worked it out, about 145,000 under value. So that enables us to make a profit in a property where normally we would not be able to make a profit because, there just wouldn't be enough fat in it. Now is the time, if you're planning to make a move and you've got the capacity, and if you don't have the capacity, then teaming up with someone safely in a joint venture is a really great idea. Now, I say safely because there's lots of things that can go wrong, and so you want to make sure that it is done, that your interests are protected. And that's why I love the structure we're using at the moment, because everyone is protected from everyone else by virtue of the legal structure. So I'm developing a talk, and I've got property women and also property circles coming to the conference. So they'll be there as well, and we're going to be talking about how we're going to be moving forward with this, because I believe that it is a really awesome opportunity for those of you who don't have the capacity to get going on your own. And it's often not about how much money you've got. Like, you might have plenty of cash but not have borrowing capacity. And so, often we don't want to use all our cash because that's our sort of control. So this is not just a thing that people do because they don't have money. There are lots of reasons why you would do it. That's what's happening. So if you are interested in coming, of course, we have lots of awesome speakers. It's going to be an amazing day. So I'd really love to see you there. Okay, on that note, I am going to say goodbye, and I will see you next week. If you've got any comments, love to see them in the comments below. Take care.